Tell us about building the house. You were back in Ireland while that house was being built.
Yeah, now that was the thing that worried me all along.
Well, hello there, internet. Pete here from Thairish Times. What's the story, as they say? So today we're going to interview an Irishman. His name is Martin, and he's from a rural part of Ireland called County Cavan, and he lives there with his wife and his two kids. And Martin has recently had a home built in Thailand, and we're going to get into that in this story. Martin is also going to tell us about his career living and working in 7 different countries, as well as his wedding in Thailand a couple of years back. And it was a Thai ceremony, in fact, and which I'm going to be doing in November as well. So I'm looking forward to that too. Just before we start this interview, I just want to take a moment to remember one of the really good guys in Thailand, a real gentleman. His name was Frank Murphy. Frank sadly passed away 2 days ago in Thailand, and he helped me out a lot when I first started the channel. He organized interviews for me and put me in touch with different people. And Frank lived on Koh Chang Island for many years, and he was well known and well liked on the island. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you, Frank, for everything you've done for me. I'll always remember you. Cheers. So Martin, thanks very much for coming on here. Tell us about yourself. So in the email that you sent me, right, you said you lived and you worked in 7 countries. Your wife is Thai, you have 2 kids, and you're sitting in a beautiful home there in Pattaya. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, yeah, I'm sort of an old man now. I'm age 59, but I was sort of knocking around Europe during the height of the IT boom. So I was able to get these sort of contracts, all over Europe. So I ended up working, yeah, in Germany, Poland, Luxembourg, the UK twice, Vietnam, and Belgium. So it was a great time to be in IT. You get these contracts like 3 months long, and then they'd renew them, and you might end up in a place 2-3 years. That sort of way. So it was I had a great sort of innings when it comes to sort of my working career. I was sort of moving all over Europe, and I was a young man. I was like 25, say, up to, let's say to about 40. Yeah, I sort of like jumping all over Europe, and it was a great lifestyle at the time because you're young, free, and single, And then suddenly, I sort of heard about Thailand and came out to visit Thailand. And of course, like everyone else, it was like, God, this is brilliant, So sort of started coming in and out of Thailand, and the rest. Then I met a Thai woman, and sort of then my contracting, sort of. I'm still contracting, by the way, but it's sort of because of outsourcing to India. Big companies now, use Indian companies to do their IT. It's a bit more harder now to get these contracts and move all over Europe. It's a totally different game now. Yeah.
Were you working in Europe and then visiting Thailand for a couple of months and then going back to Europe, or how were you doing it?
Exactly, I was doing that. I say, for example, I was working there in Munich with Telefonica, O2 as we know it, and like a contract there. There was always these back-to-back 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, and it was a great money earner at the time, but still only a contract. But those times you could finish a contract, go away for 2 or 3 months in Asia, and come back to the same company. So I started to do regular trips here, and then I ended up working a year in Vietnam. Sort of that was, went to Viet. I was part of one of these regular trips. I done Thailand and Vietnam. Ended up teaching English in Vietnam, and ended up getting a small IT contract there. So sort of, it was I was in and out of Asia, and going back to Europe, and then basically, long story short, things changed overnight. I met my wife, and then obviously sort of things took a different direction, let's say. Sort of she joined me on a contract in the UK, and then she joined me on a contract in Belgium. But as the kids came along, life got a bit more difficult. You can't really move around so quickly with kids.
So how are you doing it now? You're spending, say, 9 months in Ireland and then 3 months in Thailand every year. How are you working it?
Yeah, I mean, I must admit that's got difficult. I mean, I was working there in Dublin for a bank in Dublin, right? For the 4 months before I came here, and we had to come here for the house and stuff. And basically, there was a renewal there, but I couldn't really take it because, I had to come to Thailand and stuff. And it is difficult because when I go back now at the end of August, because the kid goes to school in September, I'll have to look for another contract or ring up the old place and hope they'll take me back. But, it's difficult enough, to be honest, to sort of do this 3 months in Thailand every year when you're sort of because you want a contract to last as long as possible. You want a contract, maybe you get 3 months or 6 months, and you want it to be renewed and renewed. So it's not easy when you start to take 3 months of every year out to go to Thailand. It plays havoc with jobs, with IT contracts, for sure. Plus, as I said, outsourcing to India and stuff, the whole game has changed.
And you're sitting there in an absolutely beautiful living room there. You've just built a house in Pattaya.
Yeah, I mean, basically, on our last trip here last year, we looked at a few places. I mean, I was sort of a person who wanted to buy a condo in the city centre, but the wife wanted more like a house and stuff. So long story short, we ended up buying a house in East Pattaya. Now, we'd be 10 kilometers from the centre. So this is like out on the east side, away out beside where the golf course Sai Siam Country Club is. So it's not really it's 10 kilometers into town. So, you wouldn't go into town so often, now and again, but we rented a car and stuff, and the odd night I get out in town, but it is 10 kilometers away. So, and it's more like out here is more sedate and quiet. There's a big sort of reservoir here with bars and restaurants around it. And that's where we go more often, with the kids and stuff like this.
Tell us about building the house. You were back in Ireland while that house was being built.
Yeah, now that was the thing that worried me all along. But, I had a big fear, like this is, a runaway project and I'm not on the ground and stuff like this. But obviously it was a Thai company, right, that was doing it. Now you can get Western companies to build houses here, but it was a Thai company. And I remember many a morning the wife was on the phone like an hour to them, at 8 a.m. when we're trying to get the kids to school and stuff like this, discussing this, the other and that. And I sort of was left out of it because, I can't speak Thai, but she done a lot of work in that whole area. Yeah, to keep the project going and try and, basically we seen the shell of the house before we left last August. And yeah, we flew back in on May the 17th this year and arrived at the house ready to go. It was turnkey ready. And I mean, it was, in my opinion, and anyone who's visited it, they've done a great job, and the location is very good. Because slowly I can see this east area of Pattaya, which was called the dark side, because back in the day there was nothing over here. It's slowly being built up all the way out here, But obviously, as I said, it's not condo living in the centre. We have the Outback. It's a big Australian bar at the end of the Sai here. And then you'd maybe go a kilometre and you have the biggest Irish bar in Thailand here, Paddy's.
Let me just interject here in this interview for just one moment, folks. So I initially thought it would have been too cheeky of me to ask Martin how much the house was to build. But after thinking about it for a couple of days, I wanted to know myself. So I did ask Martin, and I said, Martin, will you tell us how much it costs? And Martin was very kind enough to share that information. So the house cost 9.8 million baht to build, and the area and size of the land is 600 square meters. So there you go. Let's jump back into the interview. So Martin, how did you get around the laws regarding foreigners owning land?
Yeah, I knew you'd ask this question. The thing is, as you know, there are many foreigners here in Thailand. They own houses, but a foreigner cannot own land. So basically, I do not own the land. And to be honest, the bottom line is foreigners can't own land. You can have sort of legal constructs in place to sort of live in the house and sort of you've got your rights protected like that. Or you can just simply, put it in your wife's name and your kid's name and be content with that. I suppose, this is something each individual has to figure out in their own mind, what they want to do. But you can put it, obviously it'll be in your wife's name, for example, and you can add your kids to it if they've got Thai passports.
So it can't really be taken out from under your feet then if the kids are involved?
Yeah, the kids are involved. So that's one way. But then there's another way, of course, you can buy a property using a company, but we do all know that that's 51% is owned by Thai directors, and you own what's it, 49%, yeah. So yeah, I
Okay.
mean, this is an emotive issue. I mean, I suppose the best option is buy a condo in your own name, but your wife might have something to say about that, like.
Well, to be honest with you, I like what you've done. Like the house has always appealed to me, building a house rather than a condo. I've lived in condos for years in Bangkok, and I do like them. But
Yeah,
sometimes, it's nice to have your own garden. It's nice to have your own land. I mean, you've got a beautiful swimming pool there. It's your own
yeah.
kind of part of the world.
I mean, the swimming pool, I mean, for kids, I mean, as you know, living in Ireland, I mean, every evening here they can jump in the pool. I mean, that's like incredible. When you compare, like, there'd be some weekends there in Cavan, like, the kids couldn't put their nose outside the door from Friday evening till Monday because of the rain, and stuff. So, I mean, a swimming pool it's great for the kids. Unfortunately, though, we have to go home, as I said, mid-August because another emotive issue that the wife doesn't want the kids being educated in Thailand.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because there's a big question marks over the standard of Thai education. It's a big debate, a big issue. Now, obviously, the way to work around that is you send them into these sort of, I don't know, the Pattaya Regents International School or these sort of private schools, and then it matches sort of the curriculum in Ireland or the UK. But to be honest, I mean, we were just checking that. I mean, a preschool student's about 5,000 a year, and as they go on, that will become in their teens about 20,000 euros a year. And to be honest, at my age, 59, contracts aren't growing on trees. I just couldn't finance that.
It's something that I think people should consider as well because right, it's a kind of a catch. It's a hard situation because you'd love to live in Thailand, but
Yeah,
to do that you have to take the kids into consideration as well.
yeah.
And international schools are so expensive, and to be honest with you, the quality some of the international schools I'd question like the quality of the education compared to say a public school in Ireland. I mean, we have very good public schools here.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the Catholic schools in Ireland are sought after. Everyone wants to, sort of like send their kids to, where you look in the UK and stuff. Catholic schools are sought after for kids. But to be honest, I'm not an expert in this whole scene, but it is another one of these big issues here in Thailand. You hear people discuss, and they go home to Europe because they can't afford the schools. And the other one, as you know, is the medical care. I mean, a simple thing, like, I mean, in Ireland, the child gets sick. They get sick on a regular basis. They're children. And, children under 6 in Ireland, it's free to go to a doctor. Now, if you're out in Thailand, I'm not sure the ins and outs here, but, I assume you might have to pay in the clinic or bring them to sort of that Bangkok Pattaya hospital. And, you're going to, one of our children there had to go to the hospital for an acute cold. And it turned out to be, it cost about 5,000 baht, you know. So, it would add up for sure. The medical insurance would be another question mark. If you're coming here to live permanently, yeah, these are with children, you'd have to consider education and healthcare.
And Martin, is the plan to rent it out while you're back in Ireland, or what's the story?
Now, that's a big question. I mean, basically, we'll be heading back mid-August, and really, we got to think about this because there's an argument. Maybe we come back at Christmas for a couple of weeks, but we're not sure if that's going to happen, or maybe rent it out and just get the money in the meantime while we're away. But then you can't use it then in between. But the thing is, we're debating that at the moment. But the big thing is the wife, she wants to get her Irish passport, and you have to live 3 years in Ireland. But the last year, you got to spend 365 days without leaving the state when you make your application. So we're
That doesn't
thinking
make
maybe
any sense. You have to stay there. You can't even go outside the country once.
on the when you make your application for an Irish passport, that last year you cannot have left the state, and this is absolutely true.
That
This
sounds
is
like a joke.
Yeah, but it's not. It's serious. So basically, to qualify for the Irish passport, you'd have to live in Ireland 3 years, which we've done. She's done, I should say. But the last year, when you apply, you cannot have left the state. So no weekends to Amsterdam or Brussels or anything. So we're thinking maybe this time we go home in August, and unfortunately won't be able to come back to Thailand till she makes her application mid-August next year.
And do you ever think you will move to Thailand permanently?
Yeah, in 15 years' time, when they're sort of out of secondary school, for sure. Yeah, but like, who knows where the hell we're going to be in 15 years? Like, and I'm 59, remember? So I came
Yeah.
late to the game. Yeah.
You have plenty more time left, Martin. I can see you're quite an adventurous guy. Like, I'm looking at you've got a YouTube channel, and I'll put the link in the description for everyone to check it out. And it's like you said before we started, it's for family and friends type of thing, but you can get a real inkling into your personality. You're quite an adventurous guy, right? You're always moving around. You're in Dublin. You're filming. You're all of a sudden you're in Cavan on a farm, and you're filming cows, and then you're in Bangkok, and then you're in Thailand. So how would you describe yourself? Because to me, you seem very adventurous.
Basically, the lucky break I got was my first job abroad was in Berlin, in Germany. This is 1986. I got a job. I got a permanent job. I'll have to say it wasn't always contracted from the beginning. I done a few years of permanent work. So I ended up going to Berlin in 1986 when the wall was up, working for a long gone company called Nixdorf, and that lasted a year. And I was actually sacked out of that job. I didn't do so well in it. And then I went and I worked with the U.S. Army, because they were obviously in Berlin, the U.S. Army and British Army and the Russians, because Berlin was the divided city and all that, with the wall. And ended up working for 2 years with the American Army as a civilian programmer for the 49th Battalion. So I'd sort of began this road of working abroad. And that began at age 22. Then I came back to London for about 7 years, and then I went to Poland. So I sort of was always working abroad, but always came home to Ireland for the weddings, the christenings, and the funerals. I never lost contact with Ireland. I was always coming home 3-4 times a year.
And how's your wife? Does she like Ireland, and how's she treated in Ireland?
Yeah, okay. We live in the countryside, right? So that's a big thing. Like, she only got her driver's license there about 3-4 months ago, and that was a major benefit to us, because I was doing the school runs, I was trying to do my IT contract, and it was a lot of pressure like that. But now she got the driver's license. Basically, to answer the question, she doesn't mind living in Ireland. But like where we live, County Cavan, it's very rural, 7 miles to the nearest town. It's a rural place, and obviously the weather. Sometimes like myself, if it's raining endlessly, she gets highly pissed off. But it's she thinks Ireland is a much better place for bringing up a family, because of all this healthcare and education and facilities and stuff like this. That's her opinion. So yeah, she survives it. But it would be probably a different experience if we lived in Dublin, or if we lived in Navan or somewhere with Thai restaurants and Thai people around the corner. Now she has some couple of Thai friends, living not far away, but you have to drive maybe 4 or 5 miles. There's a town called Ballajun stuff in County Cavan, very famous town, and there's at least 40 Thai people working there in a mushroom factory. So there are Thai people even in Cavan.
It is really important. Like I noticed with Noon as well over here, that she has a group now of Thai friends, and there are different groups, but it's very important. For I think we take it for granted because we speak English, so we go to another country. You can have a friend that's an American from the UK, from Australia, because we all speak the same language. But if you're over in a different country and you don't speak the language, and you seek friends from your country,
Yeah, for sure. So the thing is, and as I said, getting the driving license was, a big benefit, and that took, yourself to get a driving license in Ireland. It's like, you got to do your minimum 12 lessons, €50 each, and then the wait to get the driving test was endless as well. Waiting 2-3 months, there's people even wait 6 months. So it's a big project to get your driver's license, but it really gave her great freedom then.
And how about the kids? Are the kids learning Thai?
No, that's it. They can say a few phrases, but to be honest, the wife would speak to them in Thai now and again, but no, they're not becoming bilingual. Maybe that will happen in the future, but for now, no. The 5-year-old, she can say a few phrases, but no, it's not. She's not bilingual, but it could change.
let's talk about your wedding when back in 2018 or 2017, was it?
Yeah, I mean, basically, the wedding was there was first the official signing of documents, and that was 2017 December. But the big event was January in Nakhon Phanom. That's a city up there on the northeast Thailand on the Mekong. Yeah.
So I saw in the video you had the procession. And there was it was you. It looked like family and friends were
Yeah.
were walking along the big long procession where people were, they were screaming, yo, and everybody was like
Yeah.
looking at you, and it looked great, looked like good fun.
Yeah.
Were those your family and friends that were doing that with you? How did it work? What is the
Yeah.
procession?
The procession is in the village. So basically, they always have a procession to the house, and there's a name for this now, and I can't think about it's. I can't think of the name, but it's a proper name for this procession to the house. And basically, when you arrive at the bride's house, you have to cut like these sort of strings to get in and give some money. And basically you're allowed into the house, and then we had the proper ceremony in the house in the village.
Right, because I'm going to have to do this procession in November.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm just trying to think, what's in store for me here?
Yeah, you will walk in that procession. The music will be very loud, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning, but this is northeast Thailand. It was like 35, 40 Celsius, like you're in a suit, like you're wondering what on earth's going on, because it's like the whole village is screaming and shouting, and you're there wondering, Jesus, what have I let myself in for?
Did you enjoy the rest of the day then? Did you have good fun?
Yeah. Yeah, then they had like the ceremony in the house, obviously the proper Thai ring ceremony in the house. And then there was let's call it a village party, loads of beer and food. And I mean, I didn't know many people there. I mean, the whole village turned up. And then afterwards, there was sort of a little break for a few hours. And then we had a sort of a meal in a hotel on the river at night. And that was beautiful, and it was great, and sort of that was part two.
Martin, it's been a pleasure talking to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link your channel in the description. Go over, everyone, subscribe to Martin's channel. It's only kind of it's a bit of fun. Yeah. Martin's got some really interesting, cool videos there of Thailand and Ireland as well. So check him out, and he's a good guy to know. So Martin, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I wish you all the best.
And the same here, and hopefully now we'll have a beer either in Ireland, maybe in the next few months, or maybe back in Thailand, who knows, but we will have one for sure.
Oh yeah, give us a shout. We'll have a pint of Guinness. I see you do like a Guinness.
Oh, for sure. Too many of them. All the best. Thanks. Yeah.